What's up, guys? How's it? Oh, there's a little breath, huh? Oh, what's up now? Uh-oh. Hold on a second. It's nice and cold outside, folks. Stay flat.
Good afternoon, aloha from Florida. I did a little video a couple days ago about the Gleason's map and how the airplane paths and the undersea cables and the autopilots all use the flat earth map, or they make perfect sense on the flat earth map. They don't make any sense at all on the globe, but there's three more. One of them is the time zones. There are many more time zones in the south than in the north, because the south is a much larger area of land. There's also many more constellations in the south than the north, because it's a much larger circuit. Also, the Analema makes a larger path in the south than it does in the north. That is, if you take a picture of the sun every day from the same place on the earth for a year, it'll map out a figure eight in the sky, but the bottom of that figure eight towards the south will be much larger than the top of that figure eight towards the north. So the Analema, the time zones, and the constellations, those are three more great proofs that the Gleason's map is still by far the best version that we have of our observable objective reality, and everything making perfect common sense. Have a great day. God bless.
I don't know if you were aware of this. I didn't know until recently, but did you know 99%? Yes, 99% of our communication is run through underwater sea cables? Yeah. So take a look at this. This is the World Submarine Cable Map. But one thing I wanted to point out to you is, why is there no cables that run from South America to Africa and Africa to Australia? Like from here to here and here to here. And I think I know why. So back to this map. So think of Australia as 1, Africa as 2, and South America as 3. So here we have the Gleason's map, and the reason you won't find any cables that run from Australia to Africa, Africa to South America is, look how far this is. But you're probably thinking to yourself, bro, what about this and this? Back to the Gleason's map, it makes perfect sense from here to here and here to here. According to the recent statistics, over 99% of our international data traffic is transmitted through undersea cables. Like, did y'all know about this? But bro, what about satellites? Well, as satellites currently carry just about 1% of global internet traffic, the remaining 99% is carried by undersea cables. Now this next part I found really interesting. This is something we've been hearing about lately. Like,
are you guys aware that 66.6 degrees south is the Antarctic shoreline? And that is where they did the final experiment. Now, if that was to prove the Gleason's map of the world, why does the Gleason's map of the world say if you go beyond 80 degrees, you will have complete darkness? Now, wouldn't the final experiment be to go past that 80 degrees of Antarctica to see complete darkness? But of course, the fact that it's 66.6 degrees of the Antarctic shoreline is just random numerology once again.
You won't believe what I just found when looking at this astronaut's helmet. Something very, very interesting. Is that a scuba diver? Now, can someone tell me why a scuba diver would be in the distant outer space void? It's a possibility. Just a possibility that these astronauts could be underwater. Now, you could say, well, yeah, of course astronauts are underwater for space training because it's simulating being in space. 1, have you read the Bible, The Waters Above? And 2, why would there be a scuba diver in outer space? They're not supposed to be training in outer space, it's supposed to be the real thing. So how is being underwater very similar to the real thing? That's just something to ponder on.
I'm not sure if you heard the latest news, but I guess we're going to Mars. We're going to put an American flag on it. Pretty interesting to consider, though. How did they get past the firmament? But I guess some people still believe that we went to the moon with these trinkets. In my opinion, it won't be anything more than an expensive CGI spectacle. I already got the job done, and it didn't cost me billions of dollars. I just used Canva. What are your thoughts, ladies and gentlemen? Can we make it past the dome of the firmament? Is it even possible to get to Mars? Is it even possible to get to the moon? Very much mysterious. Definitely reconsider these ideas. How do we get to Mars if we can't get past the firmament? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and have a blessed day, ladies and gentlemen.
America is going to space again, and we're going there to stay.
A permanent lunar base, and we're going back to the moon, back to the future, and this time, back to stay.
Turn to the moon by 2020 as the launching point for missions beyond.
And by 2025, we expect new spacecraft designed for long journeys to allow us to begin the first ever crewed missions beyond the moon into deep space, into the solar system. Not just to visit, but to stay.
It marks an important step in returning American astronauts to the moon.
We will return American astronauts to the moon
within the next 5 years.
We're going to go to the moon. We're going to have a base on the moon. We're going to send people to Mars and make life multiplanetary.
The United States will return astronauts to the lunar surface. We will establish the first lunar base camp and the first station in lunar orbit. We intend to land an international astronaut on the surface of the moon by the end of the decade.
Yeah, sure, Jack. Everybody knows that 95% of the world's internet traffic is from underwater sea cables, don't they? You see, only 1% of the world uses the internet through satellites. See, look, here's a map of all the wires and where they go, right? One thing I want to point out, why is there no cables running from South America to Africa and no cables running straight to Australia? Because on a globe, that seems pretty doable. And then you try and forget the globe for 2 seconds and go to the old Gleason's map that the whole world used to use. Then it starts to make absolute sense as to why there isn't cables running from these places of the world. They're just too far away. But I don't know, it could just be me. Like, this could literally just, I don't know, someone could have an explanation online. The fact checkers might be able to fact check me all the way to the dumpster. I don't know. I just think it's weird that there's no cables running from South America to Africa and no wires running all the way to Australia, considering on the flat earth, the Gleason's map of the world, it just makes clear sense as to the distance of them being apart. And then you see in the top middle right there where there's like shitloads of cables running through the middle right there. That also, to me, on the flat earth map, makes absolute sense right here as to why there would be a ton of wireage.
So I'm new to TikTok, but I just am trying to find other people that may agree with me. But I completely love Jesus. And I also believe that the earth is flat and that we can trust what Moses told us, that there's a firmament up there and that you can't go to space because there is no outer space, and that's all been perpetuated through liars and people that didn't know that they themselves were being lied to. But we don't need to focus on what Satan is doing. We need to focus on believing what God said he already did and the world, about the world that he actually created. And we shouldn't have this false image of his creation. We learn about God through creation, and all of creation declares the glory of the Lord. And the firmament declares his handiwork. Well, you have to believe Moses when he told you that up there is a firmament and it separates the waters above from the waters below. If we're not living with a consciousness of our home, our earth, for what it actually is, as God revealed to us in his Holy Bible, then we're not going to understand who we are. Our whole mind will be twisted, because that's such a huge foundational question in our identity, is where are we? What is our home? What are these things that my eyes see and my ears hear and my nose smells every day? What is this? And Satan has had a plan to attack the first few sentences of the Bible and make everybody who's ever been curious about the Bible, where are they going to start? The beginning. And they can't get very far because their mind is warped into thinking, oh, this doesn't match with what I've been told. It must be a fairy tale. I can't trust the word of God. And then a lot of people don't get further than that. So it's important to stop feeling ashamed of believing Moses. Jesus quoted Moses and vouched for everything Moses wrote and said. Everything in the Old Testament, Jesus put his seal of approval on it, endorsed it to the infinity power. So let's believe God's actual word about what our earth is and not be ashamed. And let's experience the readjustment and realignment of our consciousness together as we reconcile our thoughts and our experiences for what they actually are and what they can actually reveal about the nature and character of our loving God. God bless you.
I'd like to ask everyone to join me, and let's take a moment of silence for the globe. Rest in pieces.
Yeah, we can. We can go to a lake and prove it. Okay, this is what makes me think that NASA is lying to me. I remember when I first got born again years ago. I got saved, and I become religious, and I started reading the Bible, and then I read something about the firmament, and I didn't know what it was.
That's what the Bible used to call like space, like what's outside.
That's what some people say, and the reason why a lot of us don't look more into flat Earth is because when it is brought up, we're fed propaganda. Like for instance, you see like a pancake Earth out of space, then you hear somebody talking about it. That's not what we think. We don't think that. But that's what the image is that's fed, and then they mocking like flat Earth and telling us why. Well, if the Earth was flat, then gravity would pull everything to the center. All this propaganda. Okay, so when I learned about the firmament, I went back. When I heard about the firmament, I went back to the Bible and I said, "Oh yeah, this is what it is." I didn't know what it was, and I remember the Bible saying it's separate the waters from the waters. Then I looked up the word firmament, and I looked up the old word. You got to look up what the old word is and stuff like that. And then I figured out what that was, and then that sent me on my journey because it was hard for me to believe. And then I wasn't believing. I was all conspiracy until I came across this one video of this guy talking about emergency landings, and this is the one thing that tipped me over to believing the flat Earth, and for a few reasons. I remember this older white lady that was talking about racism in America, and she was talking about how our continent is shaped different. Some continents are bigger than what they put in the maps. So she said they mess with the maps and how thing is, and then this guy was talking about emergency landings. He was saying that one time this Asian lady was coming from Asia, I think Taiwan or somewhere, flying to LAX, and she was pregnant, but she was lying about how far along she was. So she got on the plane anyway, and then she started giving birth on the plane. So they had to make an emergency landing from Asia to Alaska. And if you pay attention to where Alaska is on the globe, that is not an emergency landing. And then his roommate was like, what's going on? He said, man, I can't figure out how this is emergency landing when they're coming from Asia going to LA, and they stopped in Alaska all the way over here. Like, why? How is that an emergency? Why did they stop there? And then he said, oh, that makes perfect sense on a flat Earth map. Then he pulled up a scientific, real flat Earth map from 1800. The guy was like, what is flat Earth map? He said, the United Nations logo. They use it. They throwing it in our face. The map that we use is wrong. It's different. They changed it. This is the actual map, and you can look up in the encyclopedias. You can go and check one out of the library.
It's a map that was. It says like it's proven. It's a map, and it's scientifically proven. It's a fact that these are the maps that they use. It's a flat Earth map, and you have to fly over Alaska to get to LA. So
from Asia.
Yeah, but Alaska is right by. It's right by us. It's not far up. It's but by LA. It's not west. Far. It's not more north than what we think. So like we've been lied to. So that is an emergency landing. Then I started looking to other emergency landings, and I started looking to like layovers and stuff like that. And a lot of stuff didn't make sense. Why they would fly all the way up here to change, then like the flat Earth map is totally different. Then once you kind of look into the flat Earth map, and then and when you fly across the world, and you know like the layouts and where to stop and stuff, then it kind of make sense. The flat Earth, and that's what took me over the edge, was that the emergency landings thing.
The flat Earth map dates back over 1,000 years. This map is credited to being created by a Persian astronomer. His name was Al-Biruni, and he lived between 973 AD to 1048 AD. It's the official map of the United Nations and also the United States Geological Survey. It used to be present in many places before the creation of NASA and the Antarctic Treaty in 1959. Here you see it with Admiral Byrd. This map has been restored by Dmitry from Russia with suggestions of mine, Eddie Alenkar. Known by my YouTube channel Flat Earth Banjo, I asked Dmitry to include the Bermuda Triangle and Point Nemo, a place deep in the Pacific where NASA buries rockets. Then Robert Tozzi, a professional mapmaker, came along and enhanced the map even more. There are many people now selling this map online, but if you could order it from my online store, I would greatly appreciate it. Visit my online store now and order one of the items. I humbly thank you.